Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Average Movie Review Podcast. I just finished watching Supergirl. Um, all I have to say is I think the critics are on crack. This was actually a really good movie. Uh, I think it's not maybe the best DCU film, even though they've only really had one film other than this, which was Superman, which was really good. But um, for a second film, it was good. For another film in the whole DC universe, I think it's not bad. It's actually pretty decent. I think there's a few things that really do well, and there's a few things that could have been done better. I know reading a lot of the reviews and the critiques for the people that got to see it early, their major thing was that the story didn't land. The direction just wasn't there. They were blaming the director. They just felt like it didn't hit as it should have. Nobody had any issues with Millie Alcock, which I completely agree. I think she is a wonderful Supergirl. I think she does a really good job at it as well. This movie is loosely based on the comic Woman of Tomorrow, but not loosely. I think it's mostly inspired by that comic. And I've never read the comic, but I did do a quick recap on it, and it seems like it's followed through the story pretty closely. And a lot of people also had a little bit of problem with that, which I feel like, again, I think they're just overthinking it, or they're a little too harsh on it. I think it does do a pretty good job of capturing the essence of the comic and what it is. It's visually, a lot of people were also upset that it wasn't as colorful as the comic and it wasn't as thing, but I don't think that's what the DCU is trying to go for. They might have a lot more color in general compared to like the DCEU, but I also think they want to keep it a little bit grittier than like putting it in like full color and all of that and making it kind of more comic booky or campy, I would say. uh the more I see David as Superman, the more I am convinced he actually is a really good Superman. I think he does a wonderful job in the cameos that he does in the films. Um, I do feel like maybe some people might be a little bit upset that he's in the film a little too much, and it kind of takes away from Kara's story. But I also feel like it does give Kara's story a little bit more background. They have changed the story in terms of how or when she arrives to Earth. As far as I remember, the original story is that she was sent out of Earth, sent out of Krypton at the same time as her cousin, but she was stuck in kind of like a wormhole or something, and then she lands 23 years later, or a couple of years later, right? Or not even a couple, like more than over like 3 decades later. Um, Compared to Clark, right? And then that's why she's younger than Clark, but she's technically older than Clark at the same time. But in this rendition, it's a little bit different, where she shows up a lot later and she's sent out a lot later as well. Krypton is somewhat surviving for a little bit. I don't know if that's mentioned in the Woman of Tomorrow comic or if that's something that they've mentioned in the prior, but as far as I know, I thought Krypton was destroyed completely. There was nothing left. They are still sticking with the story that Jor-El was sent to Earth to conquer and become a god and all of that stuff. I thought maybe that wasn't true, but I think this is the definitive storyline that they're going to go with, that his parents wanted him to take over Earth instead of protecting Earth, but then Kara Zor-El's parents wanted her to protect Earth and protect people and be good. Like, that was the whole point of this story, and I think that's where there's a difference. Kara in the story is much more realistic, quote unquote, in terms of the way she sees life, because she has been through so much in terms of grief and losing her family and growing up and losing her home and all of that stuff. So she has a very different perspective than compared to Superman, Clark, and you get to really see that in the film as well, right? Like, they're two very different people, but throughout the film, Kara's character develops and kind of realizes and remembers the promises that she made to her family and whatnot, and she kind of comes to her, I guess, comes to terms with her true identity of who she is and who she wants to be. She is still a good person, and her mother says this in the film as well. Like, you have to be a good person, but that doesn't mean you have to be nice. It doesn't mean that you have to be weak. You can still be a strong person and still be a good person at the same time. And there's a major difference in that. We see that also by the end of the film as well, that she makes a very interesting decision compared to what Superman would have done as well. However, she also kind of um, doesn't want to corrupt Ruthie in the movie, the character who's seeking out for revenge for the death of her family. She doesn't want to corrupt her, so she protects her from that, but she's allowing the corruption, or like allowing herself to take the corruption upon herself. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you watch the movie, and I'm trying not to spoil it as much, you will understand. If you've read the comic, then you understand what I'm trying to say. But again, the story does hit emotionally at some points, especially the flashback moments. I think that they work really well. And also the moments with Crypto, and Kara sticks to her character. You know what I mean? Like throughout the entire movie, I was thinking she was going to be kind of like a little bit of a bitch, but she stuck to her character and who she is, and she wanted to protect this little girl from becoming like her. So I appreciated that. I thought that was really well done. I thought that was really, really well done. One of my gripes with this film is I feel like there wasn't enough score, and there was just too many songs. And every scene, like every major scene for some reason had a song. And I think that's one thing I just don't like anymore. Here and there is fine, but if I'm watching a movie, I want to hear the score. I want to hear the background score more than I want to hear a random song. If you can remix the song into the score, great. But I don't think like I got to enjoy the score as much. I feel like whoever was doing the score had a really good they had a really good score. They had a really good, background music and stuff like that, but I don't think it comes out as much as it should have. Um there were a few moments where the movie did feel a little slow here and there. But overall, like it wasn't as bad. I don't know why people kept saying the story wasn't that great. I thought the story was fine. Like, given the general recap I've done of the comic book, like it seems like it's been pretty, straightforward. It's been kind of capturing whatever was in the comic book and bringing it to life. Maybe there's a little bit of a difference, or they've changed a few things, or maybe they changed major things. I haven't read the comic book, so I can't say, but I think they've done a really good job at adapting it. From again, I just read a quick synopsis on it. I don't know much about it, but Millie is not an issue. She is a wonderful Kara Zor-El. I think she does a really good job at it. The villain is your typical villain. There's nothing really there cream or creme, whatever you want to call him. Like he's just kind of like like a forgettable villain, I suppose. But whenever he was on screen, he did have a presence. Though he was creepy, he was weird, he was a little scary. So I think they did a really good job on that part. And I know I'm calling him maybe perhaps a forgettable villain, but he's still going to be remembered. Like I think he did a really good job for what he had. Maybe he could have had a little bit more lines. Maybe there could have been a little bit more backstory on him. But again, not bad villain. And Jason Momoa is Lobo. It's exactly as what we expected. Nothing less, nothing more. He does a tremendous job. You can tell he was having the time of his life, and he was only in the film for a very short few moments, but whenever he was in it, he kind of stole the show. I would say he did a really good job at that. And it was just it was joyful to watch him, to be quite honest. Like I think he does a wonderful job as well. And I think another thing that kind of I would like take away is I think there was too many scenes of Kara kind of getting defeated, or it looks like she's about to lose the fight. I think there was enough of that in the kind of near the middle and near the end of the film, but I felt like it was like she's just about to pop off, and then all of a sudden she's about to die, and it's like I think we like you can do it one time, maybe twice, but you can't do it more than that. And I felt like it was like 3 or 4 times in the film that happened. So I think that's one thing that they could have done a little bit better. But the action was great. The direction, like there was one scene where she just pops off, and it's like absolutely amazing to watch. I think I kind of wanted more of that, but again, I understand it is kind of her first time on the big screen after a very long time. I think the only other Supergirl to hit the big screen was the one during Christopher Reeve's time, but I don't think there's anyone else that's come in between that time. So this is a little bit more different. She is not like the CW Supergirl. She is not hopeful. She might be now at the end of the film. She does kind of have more hope, and she is a little bit more different. But in this film, she's a little bit more grittier, right? And I think she has a lot of great moments, a lot of great shots too of her being Supergirl, her cape kind of flying and her kind of hovering over everyone. Very, very well done there too. But yeah, I think overall I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it was really good. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't a bad film. I don't know why the critics again are tripping balls for whatever reason. As per usual, there's a lot of hate for no reason. She is not the issue. I don't. Maybe the director, sure, you can hate on the director, perhaps, or if you're a true fan of the comic, perhaps maybe it didn't slam the way that you wanted it to slam. I don't know. But overall, like it was a really, really good movie. Like it was a really good superhero film in my opinion. I think they did a really good job. Um, Again, a lot of people said the villain had no motivation. There wasn't anything there. But these movies are low key like talking about really political things, right? Like in the film, Krem is a kind of, well, he is pretty much an underage trafficker, I guess, like a sex trafficker and whatnot. And he kidnaps girls and stuff like that. Again, applying to what is going on in a certain country at a certain time, right? So, with all of those accusations and everything, the predators and all of that stuff. So, again, once again, addressing that and kind of taking that away. But yeah, there's a lot of people online that wanted Sydney Sweeney to play this character. I don't think they realize that Sydney has no acting talent whatsoever. All she does is just cry. That's literally it. Like, if you actually watch any of her films or anything that she's been in, she has one personality, and that's the only personality she runs with. She has nothing else but that. Whereas Millie has played in House of Dragons and she's played a princess to now she's playing Supergirl. Two very different personalities, and she brings both of them to life in a beautiful way. So I think the casting choice was perfect. But yeah, that was my quick review on. I don't think it was really quick, but that was my quick review on Supergirl. Let me know if you guys are going to watch it. If you liked it, if you hate it, please, I'd love to hear from you. And have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.